Thursday. I think it's November 9th, if I'm doing my math correctly, adding 1 to the 8 from yesterday. Yeah. Anyway, how are you guys today? I am hoping that I'll be able to read your chat more better than yesterday. The problem with the freaking cell phone for doing a live is that the text is like a millimeter tall. So I apologize. I did clean my glasses and I am trying to control the glare. Squirrel's on fire. Hey, lady. I forgot to text you. In fact, I forgot to text all the mods that I usually text before I get started. It's just like 1,000 things to do, right? And I'm just like, okay, I remembered that. I remembered that. I remembered the other thing. So let's start with the basics. Let's remember to hit that like button, please. And yeah, everything I say is simply my opinion and for the sake of trying to open up a discussion, have a great conversation with you guys where we can all learn something and be educational for ourselves and others. I appreciate every single one of you that's here live, that's on the replay crew, that's in the chat, that's lurking. All you guys are awesome. So thanks. And I'm really excited to get into the Kylie Rodney case with you guys today. But what else do I want to say before we go there? Subscribe if you're not subscribed, or check to make sure that you still are if you think you are. Share the video with anyone you think that might like my wackadoodle, very non-professional style. I mean, I'm just not even trying to do anything other than have a conversation with my friends. So you guys are like my internet friends. Is that weird? Whatever, that's the thing with social media. Okay, and then turn on your notification bell to ring if you want to be notified when I surprise you guys with a live like I just did. So again, thanks for being here. So Sudi Vacak, I think is how we spell her name. Sudi won the necklace and earrings. I'm still trying to get her to email me her address. So without that, I can't send them to her, but I was going to show them to you guys one more time. And it was Pixie Knickers who wanted the information on how to get a hold or how to get her hands on one of these little bird cages. And I had no idea where I got it. I got it so many years ago, and I picked things up all over the place, consignment shops and thrifting and craft stores. Anyway, I found one on Etsy. So I just Googled like birdcage necklace and it came up. It was the exact same one. I was excited to tell Pixie Knickers that. Anyway, how are you guys? Let's see. Good morning, Mark Molina and Annie Ruler. Hey, you guys. It's okay, babe. I wake up like I woke up like a normie today. Okay. Gonna have my coffee with you before Fee and I go on Goodwill Adventures. Oh, that's always fun. It's like fun if you find stuff, but then it's also like, oh no, now I have all this stuff to clutter up my space. Because I'm always trying to get rid of space, get rid of stuff and open space. And then as soon as the space is opened, I find more cool stuff to refill it, right? So, Shan, I'm going to reprimand you for not allowing me to catch up. I was doing so good on your 9-hour live from the night before last. You guys might know the story. I was in her chat for a couple hours. I went to sleep like a good girl because I have to wake up wicked early. And I woke up wicked early and she was still on and she stayed on for a little bit. So that was a 9-hour live. And I got through almost the entire thing yesterday in the course of my day getting caught up. And I was so proud of myself. I was going to text you and say, I'm almost there, but I like to wait until I am there. But then she goes and does a 4-hour live last night. And last night I fell asleep super early. I was exhausted. And so I wake up, I'm like, okay, it was like a 3 or 4 hour live. And I just started in on that one before finishing the 9-hour one. And I'm so glad that I did because, girl, you're killing it. Thank you for hammering away at the Kylie Rodney case. So I don't want to assign homework to my people here if you don't want that. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Just catch whatever you can of Shan's lives, especially the one from last night. I'm not like, I don't know, maybe like halfway through it, but I got to give Nova some credit. I even wrote down the timestamp, I think. Did I? Where did I write it? Um, I know I wrote it down. Where did it go? Here we go. I just wrote so much after it that I didn't realize. I thought it was like the last thing I wrote down. 1 hour and 39 minute and 30-second mark. Okay. This is from the last live on Squirrels on Fire. Nova is like right there, like, sleuthing this case. She starts crying when SF starts with his crocodile tears. I'm not joking you. The 1 hour, 39 minute, and 30-second mark. Check it out, you guys. Like, that dog is flipping awesome. And she's just always cracking me up with all her funky noises. And she started making some really funky noises, I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes after that when he was talking more smack and more shit. And it was almost like she was saying, "Yeah, right, you fool." Is just a little too much, but not too much. It was like perfect and right on. So let's see how well I can continue reading your tiny, tiny chat. Not too well because it goes so fast too. And I know that I can rewind it, but I just worry about falling behind. So very sorry that I didn't give breaks. I just had so much I've been wanting to talk about. I'll give everyone a break. No, no, no. You do your thing. When you're suffering inspiration, you're suffering inspiration, and don't fight it. Just go with it. Like I was doing that with the jewelry. I told you guys I've been making way too much jewelry. These are hot off the press, and I'm like freaking out over not having enough necks and ears to wear everything all at once. But anyway, let's stay focused. So, Kenny, Crime Watch with Kenny was on Shan's panel last night for like roughly the first hour or so. And that man is brilliant, you guys. If you don't already subscribe to Crime Watch with Kenny's channel, please do. He's really sharp, he's really wise. And he was sharing a lot of his brilliance in the live last night, and him and Shan were just cooking, just rolling with it. You guys were right on the same wavelengths with each other, and it was beautiful. It's a Squirrels on Fire marathon. Yeah, and also uh Speaks Van Holding 24/7, etc. did a live last night, just about a 1 hour live that I was able to catch part of. And Shan was there, and a bunch of you guys were there. He doesn't do lives that much, but I need to go back and do the replay crew on the parts that I missed, which was the bulk of it. Um, Let's see. So yeah, when you're suffering inspiration, just go with it because it's like it's just flowing out of you, and you can't. There's no need to put the brakes on. People can catch it a year later, and it's still relevant. I'm not kidding you. And hopefully, this won't drag out for another year. But in reality, realistically, it probably will. So buckle in, you guys. Um, let's see. My last two times are honestly super important. That's what I was thinking, Shan. I'll spend time cutting them both down into shorts and a shorter video. That's brilliant. Yeah, because so many people can't handle a 9 hour live. I get it. I totally get it. 139 hour mark. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's exactly the 1 hour, 39 minute, and 30 seconds where Nova starts crying with SF, and Shan took a break to let her out to go to the bathroom. But I'm like, no, Shan, she's just participating in your live. She's like one of the hosts, don't you know? But she probably had to go to the bathroom too. Anyway, Squirrels on Fire, perhaps you can do a breakdown. I forgot to go back too long ones. Yeah, it is so hard. So you guys, I just posted this morning in my community section, my community post section, the last time that I read that affidavit about Sheriff Wayne Wu. So that last time I read it, fortunately, it has almost 10,000 views, which is incredible. Because I'm telling you, the first time I read it, that one probably has less than 1,000 views still. So that's great. It means 10,000 people have seen it. And I've seen it a number of times, but I rewatched it this morning just to make sure that it was relevant and not too embarrassing. Because, like my lighting is all bad and everything's all bad. But I did pretty good for being so freaking new at this stuff. But that's not what's important. What's important is the freaking content, right? That's what I try to stay focused on. That affidavit is insane. Please watch it again. If you don't know the affidavit, please watch it for the first time, but not because I want you to see my embarrassing video, but because I want all of us to know exactly what's in that affidavit because it is more relevant than ever right now today. Shan, I don't know if you've reviewed it recently, but I hadn't reviewed it too recently, but I've reviewed it again and again and again. So I didn't think it was going to do me any good. And I watched the whole thing and I was just like, freaking A, man. It's crazy. It's crazy that this guy was in charge of this case. It's too much, you guys. It shouldn't be allowed. It absolutely should not be allowed. He had everything to do with it, in my opinion. Um, okay. I even took a potty break. Yes, myself. She barely piddled. Okay. We don't need to read about piddling. I need to stay caught up with you guys. And I'm not slamming you, Shan. I'm slamming me for having problems with all my technology. I'm so technologically challenged. I've said it before, but I will say it again. It's a freaking miracle I have a YouTube channel. And if not for having my live in IT crew as well as my hired geek squad, um, I mean, I could hobble along like I am now, but it's pretty bad. So I appreciate you guys um, hobbling along with me. And I don't know if the AirPods are helping so much with the stupid sound because I had them in yesterday and it was all snap, crackle, and pop when I tried to review it. It was very annoying. And it even like takes out some parts that are super important, which makes me wonder if that's just random or not. Um, let's see. Staying caught up. And I'm just not gonna struggle with it because it's too much with that tiny freaking print. I'm telling you, it is the letters are no more than a millimeter and a half tall. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then even though my glasses are clean, it's still, the glare from the stupid ring light and stuff. I'll quit complaining and get into the things I want to talk about with you. So Shan's last two lives, last night and the night before, are spot on. And a lot of what she's doing is reviewing Illuminated Mind material, which is another channel that you guys want to pay a lot of attention to because also brilliant. Um, and so this is a joke, and we always have to be careful with jokes, but this is great. This was in last night's live, I think. That Illuminated Mind and Shan want to remind all of us that if you move to Chicago, you are no longer a relative to your family, according to SF Investigates, because that was in his crazy gaslighting of trying to take the focus off of what the hell happened to this child and let's nitpick this, that, and the other about, what color shoes the AWP crew has on and how did they tie them. I mean, like the most ridiculous stuff. So he's saying that um, AWP called an aunt named Lori in Chicago who's not even really a relative of Kylie. And I don't know if there's two aunts named Lori. It sounds like there are. It sounds like there's one that doesn't live in Chicago, so she is still a relative. Like maybe one on the Neiman side and one on the Rodney side. I don't know, but it was hilarious. So Illuminated Mind puts it in print across the screen, and Shan stops and laughs about it, and I just got a real kick out of that. So if you move to Chicago, you are no longer a real relative of your family. So don't forget. But if you wanna get away from your family, Chicago's the place to be, right? Um, so in the gaslighting and the distracting and the whining and the crying of this man baby, I don't even like to say his initials, even though it is a great city, SF. Um, he is describing how awful it was. He's like literally crying. This is where Nova started crying with him. This is right where Nova started crying with him. He's talking about how awful it was, how Daniel and David were notified about um, the discovery of Kylie Rodney in the water. And it was just so awful because it was like through Facebook when he's the one who freaking notified them, according to him, because he just happened to bump into them or they just happened to run across him. I mean, talking out of both sides of your mouth is like an understatement for him. He's found like three sides of his mouth to talk out of all three of at the same time, and then the back of it too. I mean, he just can't even finish a thought or a sentence without inserting something else. It's maddening, absolutely insane. Much like somebody that he is probably friends with, that MC, and I'm not talking about MC Hammer. And anyway, so he's the one who notified them, and he's talking about how terrible it was the way they were freaking notified. Like, seriously, it's right there about that 1 hour, 40-minute mark in last night's live of Shan. So she's replaying um, a conversation, an interview that he's having with uh, that El Disgusto channel that I won't even mention their name because they're just that bad. But you'll see it in Shan's thing. Um, because we don't want to give anybody uh, airtime and acknowledgement, right? We don't want to give that to this dude or to that other female, but the idea that Shan recommended when you're having to watch these people, and I think it applies to the female version too, Shan, is to think of them as a cartoon. And it really does make all the stammering a lot easier, especially all the inappropriate chuckling and laughing that the cartoon dude does, because he's just so scummy. Like, he just can't say a single thing without trashing at least more than one person, right? One person or more. So, wait, what are we here for? We're trying to figure out what the H happened to Ms. Kylie. We're not trying to find out who notified who and what the timestamp was and this, that, and the other. Although all of that is just gaslighting and very, very distracting. And that's the whole point. I guarantee you that's his whole point. So it takes the attention off of what happened to this teenager. What is this freaking story that keeps changing and makes no sense? Who's responsible? Law enforcement is greatly responsible. It was Placer County that was in charge of the case initially because they were the jurisdiction for the 911 call. Of course, we all know it was Nevada County once she was located. And I'm just like triggered in my memory of when Scammy says, no, that's not where she was located, or something like that in her conversation with Tony in her interview. Like, why did you use the word located? And she realized it right away. Again, she tried to like backtrack and was kind of like, ooh, in my opinion. Um, so the other thing I want to say about all of this talk of that, the claim is that AWP, this is law enforcement and SF Investigates, that they posted on Facebook that they found Kylie before they called a family member and before they called law enforcement, which I think is a straight up lie. But Facebook, like, why do they keep bringing up Facebook? Especially because they're in the town where the guy who invented Facebook actually lives. And I believe that he said that he was present at the search, right? I think that the internet has been scrubbed of all that information, but that's pretty wild. Pretty freaking wild. Um, the other thing that I wanna say about all this is that whatever it is that happened to Kylie, whatever it is that happened to Kylie, chances are more than likely that it was filmed. That's really creepy no matter what it was that happened to her. Even, like, when the car went in the water, that was probably filmed not just by a fire cam. That was probably filmed on people's cell phones because that's what people do these days. They take photographs and they film everything, especially epic events. And if some really dark things were done to her, God forbid, the filming of that would be worth millions, you guys. I hate to even have these words come out of my mouth, but it is the way these things go. Um, so I want to stay caught up with you guys, but I just don't know if I can. And she said that in a live stream of her own. It's crazy. While driving down. Yeah, I'm just not gonna hurt myself trying to read all this tiny print. I apologize, you guys. I really love staying caught up with you guys. You have so many great ideas and reminders for me to keep me super hyper focused. But that's okay. I'll just hobble along with my distracted focus. Um, so yesterday I was trying to talk a little bit about the Idaho 4 case, and often I have my notes, but I really don't know what I'm going to say until I start talking, and especially when I'm reading your uh, input and then responding to it, because obviously I don't know what you guys are going to say. And so I like it that way. I like to keep it spontaneous, but it's frustrating for me when I can't remember names of things or I cross my wires because I had no idea that I was going to be talking about that. And yesterday, the one thing that I couldn't remember, there were two things. One of them I forget. The other one was the brother and sister. I think their last name is Moyer. And this is in the Idaho 4 case. And allegedly, Xana's last response on her device, on her cell phone, was a comment that she made on the brother's uh, post, maybe a TikTok post or something, and she commented "Queen." So this brother and sister, and I think I said Modine when I was trying to take a stab at their name last night or yesterday. And then last night I looked it up, but I didn't write it down. And so I think it was Moyer. Um, and they seem very relevant in the case, like as relevant as Demetrius and Emma, but they don't get named very much. And, if they're not relevant, then of course that's neither here nor there, but they seem to be key players. And it seems like in both of these cases, in the Kylie Rodney case and in the Idaho 4, that there are a lot of key players who get overlooked. And then there's certain individuals that get hyper focused on. And I think it's important to keep an open mind that, we're not getting anywhere close to the full story in either of these cases, of course. But all of the hype in the last 24 hours with the Idaho 4 that I've noticed has been around a person who claims that she's Steve Gonzo's daughter from when he was a teenager, and she made some TikTok videos, and she's addressing him and addressing the whole tragedy with Kaylee. And I just think it's more grist for the mill and more hype. It's like everybody's got skeletons in their closet. If Steve had a daughter from a high school or a teenage relationship, that's got nothing to do with the Idaho 4 case, in my opinion. I just think it's crazy, and I think people talking about it on their true crime channels is, to me, kind of a desperate attempt of creating content where there is none. And I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm saying that to keep the focus. Like, for all we know, she's lying and she's not his daughter. I don't think that she's lying. She does look a lot like him. But why she's coming out with these drops on the internet and why people are paying a lot of attention to them, to me, it's just attention seeking and it really distracts from what's important. At this point in time, what's important in the Idaho 4 case to me is, of course, who done it and what was done. What was the freaking motive? Just like in Kylie Rodney's case, who done it, what was done, and what was the freaking motive? Because all of that is just being ignored. Who done it, what was done, and what was the motive? And then it's like, oh, look over here, look at this social media post by this young woman, or look at this social media post by AWP. I mean, whoa, like we don't have enough trouble staying focused, right? So let me talk a little bit about the Maui case because Brush Junkie, who I have much respect for that channel, Tracy is the content creator's name, and she's apparently started her channel as like a makeup channel, Brush Junkie. She's into the brushes that people apply their makeup with. Sounds interesting. I mean, not really my thing, but interesting nonetheless. But she was born and raised in Hawaii, and so she really took an interest in the Lahaina fires. And she's been consistently putting out some of the most reliable information about the whole thing, in my opinion. So here we are, 3 months after the Lahaina fires. We got August to September to October to November. And all of a sudden, this is in Brush Junkie's most recent video, and I will put a link in the description. All of a sudden, Chief Pelletier is releasing body cam footage of law enforcement rescuing people and going door to door with the evacuation. 90 days after the fact. And they're still saying it's going to take 18 months to have a report of what went wrong and what went right and what could be done better the next time around. I mean, I don't understand why this guy is still the police chief. Honestly, I don't understand why he's not put on an administrative leave and under investigation, along with Governor Josh Green and that Mayor, whatever his name is. It's similar to Biden, but it's not Biden. The three of them, in my opinion, need to be thoroughly investigated for dereliction of duty and potential corruption. At the very least, dereliction of duty. And their incompetence or intentional actions led to the demise of so many people. And now they're saying what? That they're not going to have drinking water in Lahaina for 3 years? Is that what they said? Like they had been saying that they weren't going to have electricity and they weren't going to have this and they weren't going to have that, and all of those things have been getting up and running. But they're still saying that the water is going to be a huge problem for a very long time, which gets me right back to square one with the whole water rights grab. The water rights grab in the Kylie Rodney case too, you guys, we can't forget. So Lahaina was all about land grab and water grab, water rights grab. Kylie Rodney's grandfather has been in the water rights industry since he was in his 20s, Daniel Robinson. And Scammy's parents represented, I believe it was the government agencies that were suing him or that he was suing, and that litigation was drug out over 20 years, and there's multiple litigations with him and his, um, business dealings. But when we're looking at Tahoe, when we're looking at Northern California, and we're looking at growth, operations, nobody's gonna be growing anything without water. So, it all comes back to the water, and I thought in that context of water in Hawaii, water in Tahoe, what about water in Moscow? What's up with that? And I thought, well, maybe the metaphorical water there is the OnlyFans. And I haven't done a lot of investigating of OnlyFans because I'm just not really interested in that. But it seems a highly profitable, like way more profitable than I had any idea. Like in a day, OnlyFans can make mass bank, you guys. So, being that they've got all these sororities and pretty girls and um, high sorority fees, high fraternity fees that these students have to pay. And typically, I'd say traditionally, the people that are in the Greek systems in schools all across the country are people who can afford to pay these high fees. But I'm wondering if some of these high fees are paid with kind of like a trade, a barter, an exchange, where the students are photographed for OnlyFans, and then the proceeds go to the Greek system and are split with the university, maybe with law enforcement, especially when you think about anybody being underage. And most people are 18 by the time they go to college, but some aren't. And we all know that there's a lot of um, twisted individuals that think the younger the better. I mean, it's gross. It's absolutely gross. But getting back to our dear Ms. Kylie Rodney, because that's where we like to stay hyper focused, that girl was underage. Whatever happened to her happened to a minor. Whoever was involved in what happened to her, whoever was involved in covering up what happened to her, was involved in harming a minor or knowing about somebody who harmed a minor. And like Shan said, and she's not tooting her own horn, she's just admitting facts. Her last couple of lives have been spot on, and it's just really, really creepy. The things that her and Crime Watch with Kenny were talking about with the car, her vehicle, and the dents on it. And the more they keep talking about it, the more I've thought, yeah, the dents on the car are way more consistent with somebody jumping up on the car, jumping up on top of the car, than anything that could have happened with it falling into the water. Um, and just the whole story that was told about the Cody Milne, I think is his name, CM, that kid and some other kids taking off their shirts, jumping up on vehicles, blocking the roads, playing loud music. I believe this was all happening simultaneously, allegedly at about 12:30, 12:36, somewhere in there. So nobody can go in or out. There's loud music so that any noise is drowned out. And maybe that was, I said this yesterday, to drown out some screaming or yelling. There's stories about Ms. Kylie Rodney's keys and what happened to the keys, and somebody took her keys, some of these kids reported. I believe that it's evident that her keys were in the car when the car was found. Um, because for it to roll out of the water the way they did when they flipped it over and pulled it out, that the wheels wouldn't have rolled unless the keys were in the ignition. But Shan just keeps hyper focusing on the law enforcement officer who, ungloved, is wiping down the steering wheel. And yeah, when you see that on camera, you think she's turning the wheel to maybe, help with getting the vehicle out of the water. But no, the the wheel's not going to turn without the engine running, and there would be no need to turn the wheel, like it's being pulled straight out. And she's just right there on camera wiping down the wheel with her bare hand. Like, the best place to hide is in plain sight. So if they try to do these things on the sly, they know they're going to be discovered when there's a national spotlight on this case. So they just go ahead and do it right in front of everybody. And then it takes a year for people to go, wait, what the, uh, huh? You did not. You did not. These people, why is the focus on suing a YouTuber and not the focus on where's that damn report from the California Highway Patrol? Where is it? It's pretty obvious to me that I I hope I'm proven wrong very soon, but they're never going to finish that freaking report, because once they do, it's going to be a whole nother shit show, a whole nother dumpster fire, you guys. So brace yourselves. I think I'm going to cut it short since I can't read your comments. I'm only at 37 minutes. I mean, I can kind of read them, but it's just so freaking hard with the glare of the lights and the tininess. So, like I said, I don't want to hurt myself, but I do appreciate you guys and I appreciate your comments. So I'll catch them on the replay. Um, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to share today. And yeah, just watch Shan's videos. I'll keep this short so you have more time to watch her stuff. And of course, I would have loved to have been on your panel last night, Shan, but it's a good thing that I didn't know you were going live and I just slept because I needed it. I get so grumpy when I'm short on sleep. You guys haven't seen me. You don't want to see me when I'm sleep deprived. It's bad. It's really bad. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. I will ask you on the way out to hit your thumbs up button if you haven't already. I'll show you the whole thing so you can see the cute little sleeve and all. It is funny, isn't it? And to go ahead and check your subscription status and share the video and turn on your notification bell to ring. I am just so ever appreciative of having this creative outlet, of having you guys as an audience and having the back and forth. And I really do feel like it's important, not just on a therapeutic level for myself, but for keeping a focus on a very important person whose life was snuffed out. Like, that is disgusting. And for, I think it was a Ninja Chihuahua, or and was it a recent one or an old one where she, I think it's a real recent one. It's super short. I'll find it and I'll put it in the links. But she just replays MC talking about how terrible it is that everybody's focused on this one missing child who we know that they're deceased, and so they're safe in heaven. And she would be disgusted with how stupid everybody is for focusing on her when there's millions, I mean, like 500 kids missing every day in our country. Like, every single one of them is important. And Kylie Rodney was important. And Trinity Backus is important. All of these lives lost are important, and it's also important to stay focused and to be specific. So by focusing on one case, you can help other cases. And On that, I'm going to sign off. I love you guys. Sending you light, sending you love. Have a great rest of your day. What time are we at? We are just a few minutes after 12. So have a great afternoon. Enjoy your lunch. Make sure you eat nutritiously and stay hydrated. Get your exercise, fresh air, and sunshine. And just take care of yourself and relax and get your rest and be kind and forgiving and stay focused. And for myself, I always remind you guys of the things that I'm really just trying to remind myself. I need to remember to not get overwhelmed because there's so much good content. And to me, it always feels like it's feast and famine. It either feels like there's no good content going on YouTube or there's too much good content. I would much rather have the too much than not enough. And I just try to do what I can and keep up to date with the things that I can and not worry about the things that I'm missing because you're always going to be missing something, right? That's just the way life is. So just be here now, stay focused. Thank you so much for entertaining me as I try to continue to figure out what the F happened to Kylie. I think I might know, and I hope to the stars and the moon and back that I'm 100% inaccurate. Um, I keep bringing up that Steubenville case. If you're not familiar with it, I would recommend that you familiarize yourself with it. It's an old case, it's over 10 years old, Steubenville, Ohio. It's terrible, but I think that it is so similar to what happened to Ms. Kylie. The victim in the Steubenville case was 16 years old also. She was also not really known to the people who assaulted her because she went to a different school. So that is also similar to dear Ms. Kylie Rodney. And this is not something that I want to be the truth with her. This is something that I fear could be the truth with what happened to her. So I'm just going to leave it there. I just, like I said, I really do hope that I'm 100% in left field. I absolutely hope that. That would be the best scenario with what we have here. But keep saying I'm going to sign off. So peace out, you guys. Sending you light, sending you love. Thanks again for watching and see you on the next.